So my original video got taken down. It got copyright claimed by Netflix, which is great. So now what I've done, I've made all the clips from the movie shorter and more to the point, so it might seem a little off. And I've also put a lot more of the good old Grinch between the clips to sort of throw off the copyright detector. So if this editing just seems weird, that's probably why. But otherwise, I've kept pretty much everything else the same, so enjoy.
Hey everyone, it's me, the Grinch who pimped Christmas. And today I'm going to be talking about why I despise this movie. You may think it's silly of me to make a video about why a Christmas movie is bad. I mean, most Christmas movies are just Hollywood cashing in on the biggest holiday of the year. But the thing about this movie is, instead of making a normal Christmas movie, they decided to make what they probably thought was hip or something. If you look at this clip from the trailer,
why must they keep drawing me like that? Does my butt really look that big to you?
it's pretty clear that one of the main selling points of this movie is that this time, instead of ass, Santa has sass. And before you say, but that was just one scene, there's 4 separate times where they use this same joke in the movie. And they have this other joke where he says,
I don't go ho ho ho, that's a myth.
this is mentioned 2 times, and if you want to count the ending of it, 3 times in the movie. Now it's time to go through all the little problems of this movie that I've picked out.
Hurry up. Teddy, do your thing. Let's go.
So, if you didn't get that from that clip, she's recording people with a camera, but for some reason, even when they're whispering, it sounds like they're right next to you. That's not how cameras work.
Come on, Kate, I'm waiting. What did Teddy do?
He shoved me against the wall into this picture.
How? How in a million years would you not notice someone just putting their arm behind their back like that? Especially if you're looking directly at them.
No way, that person isn't wearing an ugly Christmas sweater. And besides, Aunt Peggy's never here on Christmas Eve. And if she was, why would Mom and Dad leave her alone in the living room in the dark?
That is most definitely, absolutely, positively not in the dark.
So in this scene, Santa's in the house and he's putting the presents down. And in this scene, they can hear Santa walking on the roof.
Then look how fast he's going from house to house in this scene.
It's Santa Claus.
Come on!
And again, they shouldn't be able to hear Santa entering those chimneys with the camera they're using. Unless it's actually that loud, and if so, how is that not waking anyone up?
Wait up.
Hurry!
Slow down. Wait for me.
The shaking of this camera does not correspond with how he would be moving at all.
Guys, so I thought I'd do a movie of me just walking 5 feet.
It's freezing.
Hang in there. He's gonna go back down again soon.
Maybe Santa has a blanket?
I'll look.
Santa?
Why are you trying to get his attention now? 2 minutes ago you were hiding from him. So there's a lot to break down in that scene. First of all, why didn't the sack or his hat fly out of the sleigh before when he was doing all that spinny stuff and whatever? Why did it only do it now? And if the sleigh was experiencing more intense movement, why didn't Teddy or Kate fall out? Before, it was only like 80 degrees up, and Kate fell out, but the sack didn't. And if Santa's going to be flying around all the time, why doesn't he secure the sack or even his hat with anything? Like magic or even just a harness? Anything.
You look so different.
Why? Because I'm not a big fat slob?
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Oh, that's okay, Kate. Guess it's understandable. I mean, who can eat millions of cookies in one night and not get fat, right? Well, I can.
That's the first time they joke about him not being fat.
Can you go ho ho ho?
You know how this bit goes. So they walk into this restaurant, and Santa talks to this woman, and he knows her because he knows everyone, okay. But for some reason, he just starts telling these kids everything about her childhood, and it just comes off as really stupid because obviously the writers couldn't find a natural way to incorporate that power that Santa has, so they just forced it out like this.
You don't look like Santa Claus.
Yeah, well, billboards add 80 pounds, Freddie.
If you didn't notice, that was the second joke about him not being fat, as well as this out of nowhere name drop. There was no reason for him to say his name. It was completely forced. Like, the writers really want you to know that he knows everyone's name.
Again, Santa's doing this thing where he's explaining people's backstories.
Oh, no. Christmas spirit's already down 35%.
How is the Christmas spirit down? People haven't even woken up yet to open presents or anything. No one knows that you're not delivering presents at the moment. That guy was wearing headphones, but I'm pretty sure the sound was coming from the iPad.
Guy goes to the gym every day, stays away from sugar and carbs. What difference does it make?
So this is the third time that they mention he's not fat.
I mean, can't you just like wave your hand and Jedi mind trick the cops?
I'm Santa Claus, Teddy, not Yoda.
What's the problem with this scene? It's that Santa references something from pop culture, which is supposed to make Santa seem hip. But what he references is so well known that the pop culture part is completely redundant.
I'm Kate, and you're Comet? Comet? The Comet?
As opposed to what? The Vixen? The Dasher? The Cupid? They're Santa's reindeer.
We've been in enough crashes for one night, don't you think, Santa?
Hang on. I think I can lose him.
It's at this point that Santa's mental instability becomes clear. And that instability is only further reinforced by this maniacal, crazed laugh.
Hey, get out the car now! Dave? Well, Mikey.
Why is he acting surprised when he sees these two? He knows every single person in the world, so he's gonna see someone he knows when he walks out of the car. Yes, this is the same scene from the trailer. And this is the third time that they joke about Santa not being fat. But I think this is the worst one because of how forced it is. It really just seems like the writers are trying to shove this joke in without trying to change the story around it to accommodate that.
I cannot be the only one who thinks those elves are goddamn horrifying.
So in this scene, they're celebrating because Kate is a true believer. But at this point, how can you not believe in Santa Claus? And because this movie came out like a whole year after Fortnite, they need to have the floss in it.
It seems Santa's mental instability is also reflected in the elves he employs. So, Kate just stopped that elf from chainsawing Teddy in half, and the elf says, "I never have any fun." He was going to have fun chainsawing him to death. Why are there so many police officers in here? We saw just a few scenes ago that the station was completely packed. So why are they slacking?
Get back to work!
Teddy, watch out!
And there's the last joke about him not being fat.
Take that, fat man!
As well as more of his maniacal laughing.
So in this scene, Kate's throwing presents down to Santa so he can get into the chimneys faster. Alright, but the next scene, he's going insanely fast, and there's no way that Kate would be able to be throwing presents at him like that.
Anchorage will be liberated.
What's wrong?
We missed one. Sanchez family, Mexico City. We've got exactly 9 seconds.
I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to take more than 9 seconds, but let's time it anyway. Now, I can't show you the clip because this video has already been removed twice because of copyright claims, so I'm just going to tell you it takes 26 seconds for them to do this.
Your hat? But won't you need it to fly?
No, Teddy.
Wait, so this whole night, anytime you wanted, you could just...
Excuse me? So, all the life-threatening situations people have been in, all the times that they've almost died, and all the Christmas joy that's been lost, and all the crimes that have been committed because of that. That was just because you didn't feel like using magic? For what? What reason? To teach these kids a lesson? Why these kids? Why not anyone else? And that seems like a pretty shitty lesson if it comes at the expense of all that danger. So either the writing in this is really stupid, which is possible, or this Santa Claus is actually goddamn insane. Like, actually insane. The problem I have with this movie is it tries to be something it's not. It pretends like it's cool and hip and it's different from Christmas movies, but it just ends up being worse than regular Christmas movies. So that's why I'm going to recommend watching Noel on Disney Plus. No, this is not an advertisement, but that movie is enjoyable and it's actually funny. The plot may be a little bit predictable, but at least it has the excuse of being a normal Christmas movie. It's not trying to pretend to be something else. Well, that's the end. So, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Goodbye.